You're listening to High Frequency Healing on the Super Power Up podcast, the show that explores the awakening of superpowers through higher dimensional healing.
Hello, this is Angela Maria, one of the Superpower Up hosts, and you're listening to High Frequency Healing Show. Awaken superpowers through higher dimension healing. The only difference between where you are to where you want to be is the actions you take here and now to heal your life. So let's take a deep breath and be here and now. I invite you to enjoy this time together. So here we go. Let's welcome Dr. Anita Sanchez to my show today. We will be talking about the 4 sacred gifts for a world in change. Dr. Anita Sanchez, a powerful visionary woman of Mexican American and indigenous Aztec heritage who has for over 38 years woven indigenous wisdom, business, and science into her global consulting and training with world and corporate leaders and their teams. She also guides journeys into the Amazon rainforest with the Pachamama Alliance to support business people and their families to learn about their connection to spirit, earth, and indigenous people, as well as build understanding of the importance of preserving indigenous cultures for us all. Now, she has written a best-selling book calling upon all of humanity to remember how to work and live together. Dr. Anita tells us about the inspiration behind her book, The 4 Sacred Gifts. Please join me to welcome Dr. Anita Sanchez to my show. Welcome, Dr. Anita. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Thank you. So let's just start asking you, what's your healing superpower?
Well, I'm going to say there are many, but the one that is standing out for me at this moment, because we're quite diverse parts of ourselves, is my ability to inspire people to discover their own gifts so that they can be a life-giving connection to themselves and to others.
I want to say something because I love that you said, well, it's not just one. I have many, but right now. And I love that. And I invite our listeners to be aware of this because I do believe that according to the experience and your present moment, those divine gifts start blossoming and they start just being there present for you according to where you are right now. So thank you so much for bringing that to our awareness and be able to realize that, maybe some years ago it was this, but now this is how I am impacting. This is how I am transparent the God, the divinity inside me. Dr. Anita, would you please take us back to your early years and name one memorable life lesson that is useful for you today?
Yes, a key one that goes back to as early as 3 years old is the power of dreaming. And at 3, I began having this dream that I still have to today. And I had an indigenous grandmother and my mother who really supported us in dreaming. And in that dream, I saw myself, many stick people, and we had the earth, and we had our hands on each other's heart. So as early, Angela, as kindergarten, when the teacher asked, what are you going to be when you grow up? Draw it. People draw mommies and daddies and nurses and doctors, all wonderful things. And I drew the earth with all these stick people of different sizes and colors, and we had our hands on each other's heart. Oh. And I knew that that's who I was supposed to be. I didn't have the language for it. And the reality is that is the life I've been living. I've been living that dream, that recurring dream that has been allowed me to connect hearts all over the world.
That is a beautiful beautiful life lesson. And you know what I think is so beautiful? Because I know nowadays many people, they don't know what they want to be when they grow up. My husband is 45 years old, and we were talking one of these nights, and I said, baby, what would you like to do? What's your dream? What would you like to be remembered? And he looked at me with sadness, and he's a really happy human being. And he looked at me with sadness and say, wow, Angie, I don't know. I don't know. So I just love that on earth. And imagine you were in kindergarten.
Yes. Well, some dreams are lifetime dreams and some dreams are shorter dreams. And so that's the thing about dreams. People think that it has to be enduring and I have to know everything at this moment, but it's not like that. Life is a little more either messy, you could call it, or a little more curious and expansive and surprising. And so, I have some dreams that I've let go that no, those weren't meant to be. And I've dreamt new dreams, but this is the one dream that came forward that it has been enduring. And actually, Angela, some people, I shared this dream even in corporate executive suites. And some people say, maybe you shouldn't tell that because you were so little. And I said, no, you look how people are inspired because sometimes in our early years, in our youngest, the wisdom has already come through. And that as we grow up, we begin forgetting that wisdom we have. It happens many different ways. So we're here to just bring forward whatever is our gifts so that we can shine a light so that people can see their own gifts.
Yes. And you know what I do believe that is so valuable that you share this? Because in my experience, and with many books that I've read and what I have verified, is that in those ages, until around 7 years old, you are still your spirit. It's yes. you talking through your real self, through your true self, through your higher self. So that was really a powerful message because it was really your spirit saying, hey, this is what we came to incarnate. And I just think that is just magical, powerful, and beautiful that you, not just that you remember, because some people may say, I don't know what I was thinking when I was 5 years old, but also that you were able to be the channel to draw that and keep it in your heart and in your memory. I think that's, whoa, I love it. Dr. Anita, where can people go to find out more about you?
Yes, they can go to forsacredgifts.com. That's FOUR sacredgifts.com. And there they can learn a lot more about the sacred gifts and the indigenous wisdom and about me and my work in diversity and inclusion around the world.
Yeah, and we're going to talk way more about it when we come back. We've been talking with Dr. Anita Sanchez about the 4 sacred gifts for a world in change. When we come back from this short break, we are going to talk more about her healing superpowers. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Hello, everyone. This is Tonya Don Rekla, Executive Director of Superpower Experts, and we want to thank each of you for making Superpower Up the #1 podcast network for personal development and spiritual growth. Because people like you have the courage to say that mindfulness, healthy living, disrupting reality, the pursuit of consciousness, responsible entrepreneurship, and radical parenting matter, we now amass over 1 million downloads monthly in more than 90 countries. Our numbers keep growing because there are far more people willing to live divergently than mass media wants to acknowledge. For you, the change makers, the light bearers, the way showers, we say thank you. If you're ready to take the next step in your evolution, go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz. And as Neva Lee Rekla, our youngest podcaster, likes to remind us, remember, we all have superpowers and we can change the world.
We are back and you are listening to High Frequency Healing Show. Today, we are talking with Dr. Anita Sanchez about the 4 sacred gifts for a world in change. Was there a burning bush moment that made your heart desire changing your path in life, Dr. Anita?
Yes, there was. Again, there's so many from different ages, but I'm just going to take a more current one in the last 10 or 12 years. And what it was actually the death of my mom. And it sounds strange to say that turned your heart, but in spending the last months of her life hospicing her, there were so many beautiful connections that we made. And one of the things that she was sad about, she was prepared to die, but she wanted her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren to know her. So I promised her I'd write her book. And so when she died, I grieved for quite a long time. And then I began to write, Angela. And what came out was not her book. It was my book. And my mom was a 7th grade educated, however, quite brilliant. And she loved reading. And so I just asked her in my heart, I said, Mom, I'm going to write your book, but I need to write this first. And that's how this came to be. And I started writing and I started doubting myself. And then because who am I? I write, corporate designs and trainings. I do speaking. I don't write books. But I kept going. I just kept going. And then one day, this is a magical story, Angela. So I'm part of Transformational Leadership Council with really quite luminaries like Jack Canfield and John Gray and Lisa Nichols and others. And I went to speak to them because I was very concerned by all the killing that was happening. And I was concerned for the Black people that were dying. I was concerned for the police. And so I just wanted to talk to them about the gifts. So I went and presented about the gifts, the 4 sacred gifts in my life and how these gifts helped me heal the sexual abuse that I experienced as a young person, how it helped me to really, use the gifts, be in unity with others, healing and hope, and forgiving the unforgivable. Well, at the end of that, I'm coming close to the end of the story. At the end of that lunch, I was quite nervous at first to present in front of everyone, but they loved it. And they did an experiential exercise. And then at lunch, this new member beside me, this young woman, kept asking me about what I talked about. And then she said, what you talked about should be a book. And I said, I've been working on a book. She goes, well, this is the title. She just told me what the title was. I said, wow, that does sound like my book. And she said, well, I'm a publisher for Simon & Schuster. We want your book. And that's threw me into stopping the doubt, which was all stuff that was made up in my own head, and to move forward with the ability that I knew I had and the support not only of Musica, who is the woman, the publisher at Simon & Schuster, but also my mom, my lovely mom who came through from the other side in my heart just to help me sit there and write this book so that all humankind could use these gifts in these really challenging and changing times.
Those stories. I love synchronicity.
Yes.
For me, that story is an example of synchronicity. So now that you are talking about these 4 gifts, before we go into the topic of the book, I would like to know about how do you connect to the indigenous elders?
So one can connect with indigenous elders. I always have, because I'm part of indigenous. So since I was little, I was always going to different ceremonies and meeting different people. If at schools or universities, whether you're a student or not, you can go and listen to speakers. They'll bring indigenous wisdom keepers to various campuses. So there's another way to connect. But the best thing is to find out where you live, because everywhere on this earth, the original peoples are the indigenous people. And there will be information about them. And many of them, unlike the myth that we're all gone, no, we're very much present and have been preserving and taking care of the land and the water for us and for everyone and future generations. So you can connect up. I have been, as I mentioned to you earlier, Angela, I have been on a pilgrimage this year, a spiritual pilgrimage. I'm always in ceremony, but this one has taken me to Scotland, to Kyrgyzstan on the foothills of the Himalayas, to Canada, to the Amazon. It's just, I've gone so many places, and it's powerful because we're all, what is happening as I hear the different wisdom keepers and the different ceremonies, what they're saying to all of us is it is time to use these gifts. It is time to be in unity. For that is, we need everyone. Everyone matters. And so the message that's coming through is you are not your circumstance. So if you're having really tough challenges, yes, you are. And I don't make light of them. However, do not make the mistake of thinking those challenges are you. You are a sacred being. You have gifts, and you get to be good medicine to everyone and everything that you touch. So I'm just very delighted that all these different languages and different kinds of ceremonial traditions, the same messages are come through. And so it is in science, where science is coming through and affirming what Indigenous people have already known, which is we are all intimately interconnected. We come from the same minerals. We come from water. We are interconnected. Anything we do that is good brings good in other parts of the world. Anything we do that causes harm ends up impacting all over.
You know what I think is fascinating? Where you just said different languages, different cultures, different countries, different continents. You have mentioned continents, basically all of them, right?
Yes,
Have you
I've been in ceremony with people from all the different continents.
Imagine, and the same message is coming through.
Yes, it is time for us to reconnect to ourselves, to each other, and most important, to the Mother Earth. It's very, very critical in order to live in right relationship, to bring harmony back to this earth.
And this show is high frequency healing, because it's not about healing through traditional medicine. And it's not because we don't value. I do believe that it's just time for us to take the next level. And I understand it's important, and you need just to do that medicine, and you need to practice, and you need to go, but also complement that with these other opportunities that we are sharing here at High Frequency Healing. And you said one that for me is key: reconnect to yourself, reconnect to ourselves, to our power, to who we really are. And that's a huge step. And I was reading in your website, because I just feel fascinated about all of these topics. I told you before our interview that I felt like all of this, my ancestors, my lineage, the indigenous from South America, from Colombia, I just feel like I want to know more. I want to be with a shaman. I want to learn more about Mother Earth. I want to do more rituals with the moon, with the sun. I just feel so connected right now. And I was reading about in your website, and there is something that I felt like, how do you connect this indigenous wisdom with business? Because that's part of what you do.
Yes, I do. And there are many different ways to do that. A couple that come up for me is because what's part of the suffering that's happening inside of business is everything is looking at things as if they're separate. You know, this is a separate team from this group. I'm a separate leader from you. I'm on a different level than you. I'm in a different country. There's just separation. And what we need to understand is just like the earth is one huge ecosystem where everything, every animal, water, mineral, winds, everything impacts everything else. That is true inside of business. So one of the ways in which I help people understand this is sometimes I even hook them up to a little machine. And as we're working, I have them think different positive thoughts and sometimes negative thoughts, and sometimes just not even ask them the specific one. And they can see on the screen their own heart rate variability, and they can see how it changes by whether anxiety or whether contentment and joy is in the room, or whether they are focusing on a positive image of what they want to create, or if they're focusing on something that they dread, that hurt or a mistreatment. And so what we are understanding now, science understands, is that we are quite powerful beings. And in indigenous wisdom, we were always taught that we get to choose in every moment to be either good medicine or bad medicine. And good medicine is anyone or anything that brings into alignment the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical level. And bad medicine is anyone or anything that takes that out of alignment. That makes us very powerful. And when business individuals, teams, whole organization, cultures realize about their interconnectedness and the power we have to be good medicine, that begins shifting things. And it's a powerful thing that we realize when this happens. So that's just one. There's so many examples of how I weave in current science, knowledge, organization science as well as behavioral science with what indigenous wisdom keepers have known for some time.
We are one.
Yes.
We are one. And when we start seeing our dreams, our families, our own lives as part of something bigger, I think we're going to start changing many things in our way of living and even in our planet, in our world.
Yes.
So now let's go to the topic. Please share with us this inspiration behind the 4 sacred gifts and all of this magic behind.
Yes. Well, actually, it came, I volunteer with Indigenous youth a lot in the 80s and 90s. And in 1995, I was going to do some volunteer work as I did every year. But that time I was really down. I felt stuck, like change wasn't happening fast enough in the business world. Women weren't rising to the top fast enough. People of color, white men who didn't just fit the mold of what they wanted weren't rising. So I was thinking of quitting. But at this gathering, there was this hoop with 100 eagle feathers in it, hanging from it. And I went into a room with hundreds of other young people and those of us who are older teaching them. And an elder stepped forward and said, I'm going to share with you the eagle hoop prophecy, a vision that came through, and the call went out to 27 elders who responded to it from around the world to build this hoop with 100 eagle feathers and then to put into the hoop 4 gifts. So in that weekend that they gathered in fall of 1994, they prayed, they sang, they chanted, they danced, they meditated in their own language, and they built this. And at the end, they put in the 4 gifts to help all humankind, not just indigenous people, all human beings to remember how to bring back harmony, because we have forgotten how to be in right relationship with ourselves, other human beings, all of nature and the earth, and spirit itself. And so the 4 gifts they put into the hoop are the power to forgive the unforgivable. The second gift is the power of unity. The third gift is the power of healing. And the 4th gift is the power of hope in action. And those 4 gifts I began using. I just struck my heart and my mind, and my hands and my feet got moving. And I just knew that I was to be incorporated, I was to do this. And the more I used the gifts and began sharing them with leaders inside of businesses and inside of communities, the more I saw that I was more effective. And when I say that, happier, more present, able to deal with the challenges and hardships that always come forward as human beings, but not getting stuck in them. That these 4 gifts, there are many gifts, so use them all, but these 4 gifts, these 27 elders from spirit all over the world who came together invite all of us to use them so that we can be in right relationship with ourselves, other human beings, the earth, and spirit itself.
So that means that those powers are inside us.
Yes. Absolutely. And that's the whole thing about wisdom. Wisdom is innate to all of us. It matures with time, but it comes in even as a child, that wisdom we talked about earlier. So the places to go is first and foremost is to get quiet and go inside yourself. Get quiet and listen to your own body. Listen to your own heart. And listen. And then as you listen, you begin to start getting in touch with your own innate wisdom. you can also have help because we are part of the earth, part of nature. So go out into nature. So often I even take business groups outside, walking in pairs to discuss something. And they come back in and they're like, wow, I guess we just needed to change our space. I said, you had to reconnect with the earth and yourself and each other. And you brought in all these ideas. So this wisdom, this interconnection is inside of us, nature. And then the other place and why I wrote this book is because the true wisdom keepers of different traditions all over the world who've kept the original knowledge of our wholeness, our being both spirit and physical, of our connection to each other, the earth, to past, present, and future, was also can help us remember. And I know you're listening carefully, Angela, because you do. You're a wonderful hostess.
Yes, and I am taking notes, Anita. I'm going to show you my notes. I just love this.
Yes, because it's remembering.
Yes.
You're not telling you, the wisdom, oh, you don't know. That's more separation. It's here. It's about putting down the computer, putting down your smartphone. I'm not giving it away. I'm not telling you to get rid of them. I'm not getting rid of mine. It's just setting them aside. This is not where you get wisdom. You cannot Google wisdom. It is innate. It is in nature. And it is with the traditional wisdom keepers. And we have such an abundance of how to gather that and move forward.
The word wisdom, indigenous wisdom keepers,
yes.
is just resonating in my heart. I just think that it's just so beautiful. And that's why I love this indigenous and the way they live and the way they teach us. But for some reason, some part of this world is just closing their eyes to see the wisdom in the way they live.
Yes.
And I think it's an invitation for us to go, as you said it at the beginning, go to the origin, go to the basics, go to our roots, because a lot of the answers to our questions are just right there.
They are. It is about discovering more about ourselves currently, which is connected to our ancestors, which is connected to our dreams. It's all of that. And when you say indigenous, I just want you to understand that truly all of us are indigenous because we're all made up of the elements of the earth and the stars and the water, all of us. However, the indigenous wisdom keepers are those individuals who for millennium have kept the knowledge alive. And that knowledge has been kept alive not only for them, for they know there is only one hoop of life. We are all related.
Oh, I love this. They keep the knowledge alive. They keep the wisdom alive. And they are there just, hey, whoever is ready, just come. Just connect again.
Yes.
And you are the bridge.
I am one of many bridges that are out there.
Yes.
I'm a messenger, and that's my dream again, right? That little girl with all those stick people who had people's hands on each other's hearts. Yes, I just think that is another iteration of this coming to life, of me living my purpose, living my dream. I'm so grateful.
Okay, in your website, and I invite all the listeners, just for curiosity, go to her website, and it says, understanding these gifts will illuminate your true purpose. Oh, true purpose. Heal your past, deepen your relationships, and help you become a powerful source of inspiration and leadership for the well-being of all humankind. And I know there are many things here: purpose, heal past, deepen relationships, help you be in a more powerful source, leadership. But for me, Anita, with all respect,
yes,
all of this is a path that when you start that path, you start a healing process. For you to be able to connect to your real purpose, to your true purpose, you need to go inside and start just removing blocks and limitations that is not telling you, that they are not letting you see what's your true purpose. And for me, removing, lose, be in harmony, move from one state to another is a process of healing.
Yes.
Would you just share with us all of this process for us to be able to incarnate all of this through those 4 gifts?
Well, again, there's so many methods of healing, both the Western kind, but the kind that I talk about in the book, I focus in on our different kinds of tradition of, you can sweat, you can chant, you can dance, you can walk in nature, you can sit in circle and be in community there and talking circle. But what's key to all of these kind of healing processes, the different kinds all over the world that I was able to study and to participate in, were a couple of key things. Number one, for the healing to happen, there must be listening. Because how can you know that it needs to be healed? You're just going on like on a spinning wheel, not knowing where you're going, just your mind racing and stuff. So It's about getting quiet and listening to what is your body telling you, what's your heart telling you, not just your mind, because sometimes that can be confusing. And the other thing is to surround yourself with people who care. It's really important in our environment. So it's people and nature. And even if you live in the middle of the city, go out and stand by a tree. Find that one blade of grass. It's very important for us, our surroundings. It makes a difference. And we're seeing more of that from science too. And then you also want to begin the process, deepen the process of unconditional love. Because Angela, when you use these gifts, I have found part of the path to freedom is that of all of this, of being a whole human being, is that I get to understand more and more about what it means to unconditionally love yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes and that you don't have to forgive yourself and ask others for your forgiveness. But it does mean that you're able to not be afraid of your power and ability to create and co-create with others. And then finally, you have to get in action. So for all of your listeners, you know this, Angela, because you've been in action in your life, and what you're doing and helping others is that the GPS doesn't work if you're just sitting there. Well, why doesn't it tell me where to go? Because you have to move. We have to move. So
yes.
Let fear stop you from moving, because when you move and you find, oh, that's not the right, okay, good. I now know, thank you. That's not the way. I'm going to go this other way. Great. Thank you. So get in action, get in positive action.
I love this because everything we have discussed is really important, Anita, but let's be honest. Human beings, some of us, I would say that most of us, I think that is in our nature. Some of us, and now with many things always doing, groceries, bank, medical appointments, work, schedules, appointments. We forget the essential. We forget about this, and I love 4 simple steps. And this is what I usually ask my guests at the end of the interview. So share with us those steps to start this healing process. And please take notes, my listeners, if you were just so into this conversation and you didn't get time to get your pen and your piece of paper and start taking notes, listening to your body.
Yes.
Take a deep breath, meditation. And Anita said it before, go to this quiet place, be in silence, be with yourself. Number 2, surround yourself with people who care. That's very important, that you just get that support system. That they may not think, they may not agree with you 100% in everything, but you know that whatever decision you make in life, wherever you are right now, they are there to support you. They are there to provide love, to provide energy, to provide company, and to tell you you're not alone. And that's very important. Also to keep your energy higher. Number 3, begin the process of unconditional love. Not being afraid of your power. Anita, I would say this is one of the toughest ones.
It is the unconditional love. Yes, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, it's well worth it.
Well worth it.
Yes, and I think it has to start with us.
Yes.
Because we are always thinking about the world. But how can you're going to love everybody else if you criticize yourself, if you don't accept it yourself, if you don't hug yourself, if you don't say beautiful and nice words to yourself in front of the mirror, if you don't eat well, if you don't sleep, if you don't take care of your energy? So this number 3, it's just I think it would be an everyday goal. Today, I'm going to love myself a little bit more than yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you love yourself, you start just expanding that love through the world. And number 4, oh my God, take action. Get into action. No, don't just write it there. The other day, I met this lady. She was super cute. I said, oh my God, Angela, I have this beautiful journal that every time you have an interview, I just write all the tips that you ask your guests to just write it down and to share with us how to start this healing process or how to do X or Y or Z. And I said, good. How many have you done? And she just looked at me and said, oh, I think that's the step that is missing. I said, that's the huge step. Don't write anything. Just keep one and go do it as soon as this interview finish.
Yes.
Hi, Anita. This humankind is just beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Anita Sanchez, for sharing your healing superpower with us and for sharing the knowledge and the wisdom of those 4 gifts with the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all of you guys for joining us. I am Angela Maria, Conscious Creation. Change actions, shift energy to live heaven down here on earth. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz today.